Three questions. Who am I? I'm a supply chain professional who got the privilege of serving for 33 years in your Army. And I got to be with those national treasures we call soldiers. And I got to learn a lot of lessons around the world. What am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about supply chains and leadership and how you have to merge the two in order to fully maximize the benefits of what you need to do in a supply chain. It's integral. Means it has to be integrated. It has to be part of your acquisition life cycle as you're bringing something new on. In the Army, we find 70 to 80% of our life cycle costs are in operations and sustainment after we field something. Put another way, we don't spend a lot of money in research and development. We spend almost all of our money after we fielded it and gotten out in the field. So if we don't get it right early, we're going to make a lot of mistakes with that 70, 80% of our dollars. In order to do that successfully, upfront and early integration is key. If you decide to integrate your supply chain after you've decided what your processes are, you're going to have a bad day. So upfront and early integration has to be key. Put another way, what we say is, if the supply chain professional is not sitting at the table when you've got a blank sheet of paper and deciding what you want to do, you're already late to need, you're already going to have problems. Another ground rule that I come to people with is do not mistake management for leadership. Management does not equal leadership. The other reason it should be easy is people want it. People want to be well led. People do not wake up in the morning, roll over, look at their significant other and say, honey, I can't wait to go work for the idiot I work for today. Honey, my boss is so stupid, she's entertaining. They don't do that. And on 12/31/1999, I don't know what you're doing, but at about 11:45 in the evening, I'm sitting there in an operations center watching the clock tick. And it keeps ticking. And about 5 minutes after midnight, about 10 minutes after midnight, excitement starts to build in the room. And finally, after about 15 minutes, two groups immediately erupt in the room. One group says, see, I told you all our Y2K fixes would work. And the other group jumps up and says, see, I told you not a damn thing was going to happen. We didn't have to spend any money. What should really bother you is it's been 16 years and we still don't know who was telling the truth. But we worried about it. On 9/11, an entity with no standing army, no standing government, no standing military attacks the United States of America and kills 3,000 people. And our definition of conflict dramatically changes. Well, General Bowles, we really appreciate that little run through history, and that was great, and I appreciate it, but what does that have to do with me in the supply chain business? And how's this going to help me when I go back to my cubicle farm somewhere and have to make things happen? I want to talk to you, and I want to use that chart to tell you what your job isn't. I want to tell you what your job isn't. Your job is not to predict the future. Who could have predicted that future? Nobody. But it happened. That future happened, despite nobody being able to predict it. We don't know what the next 40 years holds, but they're coming. And what it's going to require to get through those 40 years are leaders who build teams and build organizations that can't predict the future, but can handle the future when it breaks upon them. That will be your challenge. Handling the future when it breaks upon you, not being able to predict it. Momentum equals mass times velocity. Momentum equals mass times velocity. You want to maintain the momentum of your operations. Your facilities, your hospitals want to maintain the momentum of patients they're seeing and what they want to do. That requires you to stock masses of equipment, masses of stocks, and also have a velocity about where it is. So momentum is performance. Momentum is your performance, what you want to do. Mass is how much you stock and where you put it, how much you spend and where you spend it. And velocity is can you see it? Because if you can see it down multiple levels, you can shift it between sections. Once you lose visibility of it, you can't shift it between sections, and you won't know that you got 12 of them and haven't used any in the last 90 days, and you need 3, and you're 2 floors over, but I can't see that the 12 you got, you've never used in 90 days, so you order 3, but you don't trust the system, so you order 6. Meanwhile, I got 12 sitting over there, nobody's touching. Momentum equals mass times velocity. If you can't see it, if you can't maintain velocity and see and move it around, you're going to have to stock a lot in order to maintain your momentum. If you can see it where it is and where it's moving around, then you don't have to stock so much. So what this means when you go back and you're pitching those asset visibility systems to your leaders, and they're going, well, that costs a lot of money. You've got to talk to them about cost avoidance and cost savings and the fact that they are investing in the supply chain, not spending on the supply chain. Because whenever you get in a spending discussion about supply chains, you lose. That supply chain costs a lot of money. But when you talk about an investment saying, if you give me $50,000, I'll save you $500,000 over a year, wait a minute. Where do I sign? Momentum equals mass times velocity. Stevie Wonder and Superstition, Andy Samberg and Saturday Night Live, and a current operation that's ongoing now in your next mission. Stevie Wonder wrote a song. Now, people are all looking, going, is that an Army guy? Stevie Wonder wrote a song that has a leadership lesson in it in one of the lines. And the song is entitled Superstition. And the line is, when you believe in things you don't understand, then you suffer. When you believe in things you don't understand, then you suffer. When you're a leader, it's your job to understand. And as things get more complicated, that gets harder. You got to take the time and effort and energy to roll up your sleeves and understand what's going on. And if you don't understand, don't commit yourself to it, because if you commit yourself to something you don't understand, not only are you going to suffer, but your folks are going to suffer. And stay after it again and again and again. Because the easy ones, as I said to the CEO roundtable yesterday, the easy ones got taken. If it was easy, somebody below you has taken it, done it, taken credit for it, put it in their performance appraisal, and they want a bonus for it. The hard ones are the ones that are going to come to you. Do not believe in something you don't understand, because you'll suffer. Andy Samberg's on Saturday Night Live. Used to be on Saturday Night Live. Now he's on a show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, on the FX channel. But when he was on Saturday Night Live, and when you think about Saturday Night Live, it's pretty daunting. 18 live shows a year. It's been going on for 40 years. They have a show starts at 11:35 on Saturday night, goes to 1 o'clock Sunday morning. They have the cast party. They all come to sometime Monday, roll back into 30 Rockefeller Center and go, who's the guest host this week? Who's the musical talent? What's going on in the news? Let's put a show together, write it up. And boom, away they go. And Saturday they've got to put it together and put it on. And they're throwing it together as they go through the week. And a reporter watching this maelstrom of activity going on said to Andy Samberg, how do you get ready to go on Saturday Night Live? How do you get ready to do this? Andy Samberg's answer is a leadership lesson for us. He said, we don't go on because we're ready. We go on because it's 11:30.